4 from 4. That was Germany's record in World Cup penalty shootouts, walking into Monday night at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, branded for this tournament as Boston Stadium. 4 shootouts across their entire World Cup history. 4 wins. Then Paraguay, ranked 41st in the world, walked in and ended it. 4-3 on penalties, after a 1-1 draw through 120 minutes, 4-time world champions. Out in the round of 32. So which is it? Bad luck and one bad review, or an empire actually cracking from the inside? Worth starting with what happened on the pitch, because the shootout was only the ending, not the story. 42 minutes in, Paraguay broke forward for almost the first time all half. Matias Galarza crossed it in. Julio Enciso rose above everyone and headed it past Manuel Neuer, a finish born from an expected goals value of just 0.06, a near impossible chance taken cleanly, and Paraguay's first ever goal at a World Cup knockout stage in their 6th attempt at reaching one. Paraguay had scored only 2 goals across their entire group stage, the fewest of any team that qualified. Enciso had set up both of them. This header made it 3 goals, 3 involvements. Only one player in the sport's history has ever managed more while being involved in 100% of a nation's goals at a single World Cup, Russia's Oleg Salenko back in 1994. 8 minutes after the restart, Kai Havertz answered, a glancing header off a Florian Wirtz delivery, 1-1. Then came almost 90 more minutes of very little. Germany had the ball constantly, 75% of it, the 3rd highest share recorded in a World Cup knockout match since 1966. 21 shots to Paraguay's 7. And across that entire first half, Germany's shot quality cratered to an expected goals reading of just 0.14, the second worst first-half number any team has posted in a World Cup knockout game in 60 years. Most of what little danger there was ran through one outlet, Florian Wirtz, who led the match for chances created and finishes the tournament with 3 assists, but who Germany simply didn't find often enough in dangerous areas. All that possession, almost no actual danger. 4 from 4, the old shootout record sat quietly in the background of every minute that followed, an assumption nobody thought to question, until Jonathan Tah rose to meet a corner 12 minutes into extra time and powered it past Orlando Gill. Boston erupted in German voices. It didn't last. The referee was waved to the monitor. Waldemar Anton had blocked Gill from getting across to the ball before the header even arrived. Goal disallowed. It was actually a joke that this goal was disallowed, Nagelsmann said afterward. He wasn't alone in that read. Pundits on both sides of the call later agreed it was soft. But it stood. Extra time fizzled out scoreless, spot kicks. And here the story splits into 2 men who didn't yet know they were about to define each other's nights. Orlando Gill, 26 years old, 6'6", plays his club football in Argentina for San Lorenzo, had been Paraguay's punching bag before he became its hero. After an opening 4-1 mauling by the United States, Paraguayan goalkeeping legend José Luis Chilavert tore into the squad in public and named Gill specifically. Gill answered with back-to-back clean sheets, 1-0 over Turkey, 0-0 against Australia, to drag his country into the knockouts at all. Against Germany, he made 6 saves across regulation and extra time alone. Then the shootout. Before Havertz's opening kick, Gill took a deliberate lap of his own box, making the German wait. Havertz shot. Gill guessed the right way and saved it. 4 kicks later, he dove the same direction and denied Nick Wolt made 2. "This is for all the people of Paraguay," Gill said when it was over. Germany still had a path back. They just needed their own goalkeeper to deliver one more time. Antonio Sanabria then missed for Paraguay, sending it wide. Nadia Mamiri scored to drag Germany level in the shootout. Then Fabian Balbuena stepped up for Paraguay, and Manuel Neuer guessed correctly, parried it away, and kept his country alive. Sudden death. Jonathan Tah, the same man whose disallowed header had Germany's end of the stadium roaring 20 minutes earlier, took the next kick. He skied it clean over the bar into the evening sky above Foxborough. José Canale, who'd spent the entire match throwing his body in front of German attacks, stepped up and buried it. Paraguay 4, Germany 3. "We deserved one more game," Canale said afterward. the reigning standard bearers of the sport, knocked out by a team that had been thrashed 4-1 in its own group opener, and that had lost the only other meeting between these two countries, a tight 1-0 defeat to Germany in the 2002 round of 16. Nearly a quarter-century later, Paraguay got their revenge. Spare a thought for Tah specifically. 20 minutes earlier, he'd been the man who scored what looked like the winner, mobbed by teammates, the goal that should have sent Germany through. Instead, he became the player whose own penalty ended the campaign, hero and villain inside the same half hour, on the same pitch for the same team. Football rarely hands out a twist that clean. Nagelsmann, for his part, talked vaguely about needing wholesale changes without offering specifics. Asked outright whether he'd still be in charge when qualifying for the next tournament begins, he kept his answer short. "I would like to." Germany legend Rudi Völler came to his defense within hours, calling him a fighter. Not everyone in German football agreed there was much left to defend. This kind of result simply doesn't happen to Germany. Going into Monday, they'd won 6 of their 7 penalty shootouts at major tournaments, 6 straight since the only previous loss, the 1976 European Championship final, when Antonín Panenka chipped a famously cheeky, almost insulting finish past Sepp Maier to win it for Czechoslovakia. A strike so audacious an entire penalty technique now carries his name. Half a century of near-perfect nerve, gone in one round of 32. Within the hour, Paraguay's president declared the next day a national holiday. It wasn't pure theater. This was just the country's second-ever World Cup knockout win in its history. The only other one came in 2010 against Japan, also on penalties. And it wasn't a fluke side that pulled it off twice. This same Paraguay squad beat both Brazil and Argentina during World Cup qualifying to even get here. Underdogs, yes. Lucky, not quite. Strip away the refereeing controversy, and one number does the rest of the talking on its own. Third straight early World Cup exit for Germany. Group stage in 2018, group stage in 2022, round of 32 now. "We are not part of the first-class teams anymore," Nagelsmann admitted, pointing to the pattern rather than any single match. Joshua Kimmich was blunter about the whole tournament. "We didn't play well against any of our opponents." Havertz didn't dress it up either. The last few tournaments, in his own word, had been a disaster. Germany failed to keep a clean sheet in any of their 4 games at this World Cup. On paper, this shouldn't even have been close. Germany arrived ranked 10th in the world. Paraguay sat at 41st. A 31-place gap, the 4th largest upset at a World Cup knockout stage since 1994, trailing only Spain's stunning loss to Russia in 2018 and 2 Korea-related shocks from 2002. The last time a gap this lopsided ended with Germany on the wrong side of it was USA 94, when Hristo Stoichkov's Bulgaria knocked the defending champions out in the quarterfinals. Let's be fair to Germany for a second, though, because the easy headline, "Germany are finished," doesn't survive close contact with the actual match. They were the better side with the ball. The disallowed goal probably should have stood. Even neutral review of the contact called it soft. And Jürgen Klopp, working German television that night, pointed out that Arsenal, this season's English champions, had scored a majority of their goals from exactly that kind of contact. Paraguay barely crossed the halfway line in the opening 40 minutes. A genuine superpower probably finds a way past a no. 41 side regardless of one harsh call, but margins this fine aren't usually how empires fall. They're how single Mondays go wrong. The uncomfortable part for Germany is that this exact shape of result, dominant on the ball, toothless where it counts, undone in the final moment, has now happened 3 tournaments running. One bad night is noise. 3 in a row is a pattern, and a pattern is what the Federation will actually have to answer for. Not penalty number 6, none of which takes anything away from what Paraguay built, even if their formula carries its own warning label. A deep block, relentless physicality, and one outstanding goalkeeper is not, by most readings, a repeatable plan against whoever's left in this tournament. Paraguay now wait on the winner of France against Sweden, playing later Tuesday at New Jersey's Stadium, with the round of 16 meeting itself set for Philadelphia. History there isn't kind to them. In 1998, on home soil, France eliminated Paraguay in the last 16 via the first golden goal in World Cup history, Laurent Blanc, in the 114th minute, with the keeper that night, José Luis Chilavert, the very man who publicly tore into Orlando Gill after the loss to the U.S. This summer, 28 years later, the position Chilavert once guarded for Paraguay belongs to the keeper he scolded, and Gill just outdueled Manuel Neuer to get there. Which brings us to the man left holding the bitterest ending of the night. Manuel Neuer is 40 years old. He'd retired from the national team after Euro 2024, satisfied with a career that included the 2014 World Cup trophy and a redefinition of what a goalkeeper is even allowed to do on a football pitch. Then, this spring, Nagelsmann called again, and Neuer said yes, came out of retirement specifically for one more World Cup, one more shot at the only feeling his generation hadn't repeated. He didn't come back to make up the numbers either. At this tournament, he became the oldest player ever to appear for Germany at a major tournament, breaking a long-standing record held by Lothar Matthäus, and he set the country's all-time mark for tournament appearances along the way. He even produced one final piece of brilliance when it mattered most, guessing right to deny Balbuena's penalty and drag his country into sudden death. It wasn't enough. Tah missed the very next kick, and Neuer's international career, 124 caps, a World Cup winner's medal, a continent's respect, ended on a shootout defeat, the first of his life at this tournament's stage. Along the way, he'd also tied an unwanted record of his own. Germany have now conceded in 10 consecutive World Cup matches, stretching back across 3 tournaments, the longest such streak in the competition's history, level with a mark Mexico's Antonio Carvajal compiled across 4 World Cups in the 1950s and 60s. It's extremely bitter for it to end like this, Neuer said. He stayed out on the turf a while longer, applauding the traveling fans in yellow, before walking off it for the last time. 4 from 4, then none. That's the line that now sits at the top of Germany's World Cup file, right next to 2018 and 2022. Not one bad refereeing decision. A whole tournament's worth of evidence, with one harsh call layered on top of it, not underneath it. So here's the actual answer to the question this whole night kept asking. Germany didn't lose to Paraguay because they suddenly became a bad football team. They lost because dominating the ball stopped being enough for the 3rd tournament running, and nobody at the Federation has found the fix yet. Zoom out, and this is bigger than one team's bad week, too. By several outlets read, it's the single biggest result this expanded 48-team World Cup has produced. Proof that the format FIFA built to be unpredictable is doing exactly that. 2 rounds into the knockouts, at the expense of one of the sport's founding superpowers. What would it actually take to fix this? A new coach, a new generation, or just patience nobody in German football has left? And was that VAR call really the difference, or just the excuse everyone reached for first? Say which one you buy in the comments, and if you want the round of 16 broken down as it happens, you know where this channel is. Paraguay, for now, gets to keep being the story nobody saw coming. Germany gets a long flight home, a 40-year-old goalkeeper's quiet wave to the stands, and 3 words from their own coach that will follow them into the next World Cup: not first class anymore.